Oh, man. Hello, world. What is up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. We are here live at the Build Studio in New York City. HGTV's Hometown returns for its 4th season, Monday, January 20th at 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. And joining me now are the hosts and home renovation experts transforming their hometown of Laurel, Mississippi, one episode at a time. Ladies and gentlemen, make a crazy amount of noise. Ben and Erin Napier right here. Come on, do it up. Let's go. Woo-hoo. Come on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad the cameras weren't rolling just a minute ago because I took
Or were they?
stumble.
We weren't live, but we're always rolling.
Surely
so don't worry.
we got that.
We'll get
Perfect.
that package
Everybody
for you.
clapped for me after some prodding. So.
You made an entrance, is how I like to remember it. That's how I'll
It's
look
funny
back
because
on
I joked this morning on the Today Show that it would be funny if I fell walking in because there's a slope.
Yeah, that you can barely see.
Really?
Yeah.
It's just a slight gradation.
But this is like all out in front of you.
Yeah.
You can really see those steps.
True. People in the front row got a great show.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. I'm glad I wasn't wearing a skirt or a kilt. So.
Yeah.
How many kilts you got in the closet, Ben? You got a couple of kilts back home?
There's one.
He
laying around.
really wants a real deal.
The whole 9
The whole
yards.
9 yards kilt. It takes 9 yards of fabric. Did you know that's where the saying comes from?
Wait, really?
It
Yes.
takes 9 yards to make a kilt.
So kilts in the whole 9, that's all linked
Yep.
together?
Yeah.
Yep.
My good, I'm learning so much. We are less than 40 seconds.
Scottish history here.
Yeah.
I can't do a Scottish accent.
You strike me as someone who'd be a lot of fun at bar trivia.
I do know. I have a history degree, so I do know a lot of trivia. So
I just had the two gentlemen from Jeopardy. I had Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter here.
no way.
Yeah.
Ken Jennings
Everyone is
like-
talking about this.
I know. Well, it's the tournament of the greatest of all time,
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah.
But we're not here to plug that. That's not what's going on right now.
But Ken Jennings is the man.
He's very. They were both very nice guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's really cool. Well, guys, congratulations.
Thank you.
Season 4, right? This is the 4th
Yeah.
season.
Season 4.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So in a town the size of Laurel, that translates to 50 houses, which is unbelievable. Like it's not like Manhattan. There are 18,000 people living in Laurel. So to do 50 houses on national television,
That's a big impact.
it
It
is.
is.
And I'm
huge.
excited to kind of dive into that because I'm fascinated by just the first of all, what a great idea of giving back to your hometown in such a big way. But also, even though there's only so many houses, it's got to be daunting. Like, how do you decide which houses this season? And I'm curious, like, how far you plan ahead and stuff like that.
So we have a casting director. Excuse me. We have a casting director that kind of goes through everything, like with the homeowners. We start with the homeowners, and then we help them find a house. And it's what will work for camera, what won't work. If it's somebody who wants a house that needs more than we can do on an hour episode, then it's just it is what it is.
There's a lot of specifications that make a house a good contender.
Totally. Yeah. There's a lot of boxes you got to check,
Yes.
I imagine.
Yes.
All right. Well, before we get lost in the weeds and go down into that, just first and foremost, I'm really excited you guys are here, and I'm really excited and happy to see that everyone's safe and sound and doing all right. There was just a couple of weeks ago, it was a terrible tornado went through Laurel. I was very concerned. How are you guys doing? How's things back home? How's everybody doing over there?
So miraculously, no one was hurt.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Like there were a lot of
kind of
houses
unbelievable.
destroyed. There were a lot of houses with people in them that were destroyed, and literally no one. I didn't even hear of a scratch on anyone. So it was the kind of thing like in a town like that. As soon as it happened, 5 minutes later, people were out in the streets checking on each other. Are you okay? Pulling limbs out of the street so that emergency vehicles could come through. But yeah, everybody, the power's back on, and everybody seems to be okay.
Yeah.
Good. That's good to hear.
A lot of rooftops still need to be replaced in parts of town.
Yeah, there's a lot of tarps.
We lost a couple windows on our house. We were home. That was scary.
Yeah.
We have some plywood up,
Yeah.
so we're
You
good.
guys are all right.
Yeah.
Where's a good place if people still want to help out or donate or something? Where's a good resource or a good point for them to look towards or where place they can go for those?
So the Red Cross in Laurel is active, but then there is a ministry actually in the town. In the part of town that got affected the most, and it's the Glory House.
Glory House, that's what it was.
Yes, Glory House. They are like a food pantry.
Yeah.
So they're feeding people who have been displaced. Because seriously, a lot of town is okay now. A lot of town, those people don't have a home to go back to until everything is fixed. So.
Yeah, that's some of the photos I saw. It was just devastating. It was really rough. So, well, that's good to hear. I'm glad nobody got hurt. Let me ask you a silly question. You walk out there, you see all those trees. Do you think it's a lot of lumber?
I actually did. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a park in town that lost a lot of trees, and they were the 150-year-old oak trees and stuff like that. And the city I was helping clean up in different neighborhoods. I didn't realize the park had been hit, and then I drove by the park. I was like, whoa, this is incredible. And so they set a few aside for me. That
The issue is drying. You can't just take a tree and cut it up and build something.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
that. He taught me these things.
yeah,
But
So-
yeah, if you build with grain lumber, it'll twist into something
and split
unusable
and break.
split.
and,
Yeah.
But I did get some bowl blanks, so I'm gonna turn some green bowls and. It's funny because that's the thing is everybody's like, hey, are you okay? Yes, we're okay. What are you gonna do with all this wood? It's the natural.
Yeah.
Yeah, that expectation has been set. 4 seasons in, we know you know how to use
Yeah,
wood.
exactly.
So I was reading, it was a blog post that you'd done, Erin, and you were kind of recalling all the past seasons. And, you were saying season 1 felt like it was like camp. You called it Camp Hometown. And season 2, you were pregnant. You were writing the book. Season 3, you had your little girl there. When you look back now, I know it may be too soon, but how do you think season 4 is going to be remembered?
Oh, season 4, I think, was the year we finally had total confidence in ourselves as people in front of a camera. Because while we've done 4 seasons, it wasn't many episodes. 3 seasons, 10, and then we did 10 again, and then 13. That sounds like a lot, but in TV world, it's really not. So just now, after 16 more episodes in season 4, I feel like we finally, we know how to do this.
That's true too. I hear
On
that a
TV.
lot. Not just home improvement or reality-based shows, but shows in general. When you get to that 3rd or 4th season, I think it's true of most things. You get 3 or 4 times around, and you're like, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling more confident.
Yeah.
Did you find not just in front of the camera, but what about the projects that you were taking on? You got to learn something each time you do one of these.
Yes, you have flashbacks. You'll say, we've seen this before. We don't want to deal with that again. Obviously experience comes with it. But
Yeah. And then with the wood shop, there are only so many ways you can build a dinner table, and I want to keep it interesting for people who are watching. So
yeah, Ben has a hard job.
we
You
try
can't
to come up with
recycle.
something new. Yeah. So it's either we're going to do it differently, or we're going to come up with something totally different to give the homeowners. So
Well, that's one of the things I also thought was had to be some kind of a struggle is the longer you do the show, especially within the same town, right? So everybody can see what everyone else has gotten done. So every time you go in, even if you have the perfect idea, I just did this in another house, you still kind of have this responsibility to think of something different, right?
Yeah.
Which has got to be exciting, but also challenging.
Yeah, well, so every single house, I give a survey to our homeowners, and my survey dates back to when I owned a wedding stationery company. Yep. You ask the same questions when you're designing wedding stationery or a house. It's very personal questions, like tell me your favorite childhood memory and your favorite music, your favorite book, and why. And those things are more revealing than... A lot of people are inclined to just say, I just want my kitchen to be white and I want subway tile everywhere. Yeah. And when you no, you're hiring me to figure that out. Right. I want to know who you are first. And that helps because no one is the same. Yeah. No 2 people are the same, and that's the only way to keep it fresh, I think. If I designed every house to look like my house, then it would be boring. Yeah. So...
What was, prior to all the HGTV madness, prior to all the shows, what was the biggest project you guys had done together?
We did our first 2 homes together, and we had helped friends with stuff and everything, but it was mostly just that I have a history degree and she has an art degree, and those don't translate to a lot of money.
Gotta be scrappy.
And so...
Scrappy, not crappy is the motto of Hometown.
Yeah,
We
and so
do a lot with a little.
we were doing things on our own, but we had lived in renovations. We had done them together, and we always say that the true test of a marriage is painting a room together or hanging curtains together. So
Yeah, hanging curtains is rough.
Why? Honestly, and I've been together with my wife for a very long time, I don't think we've hung any curtains. Why is hanging curtains rough?
Somebody's got to be watching, and somebody's got to do the doing.
Well, yeah, and they have to be level, but it's level is open to interpretation if you're married to an artist, and so it's what looks right.
That's fair.
And that could lead to debate, contention.
That could, him saying, I cannot hold this any longer. Just pick, where do you want it to be?
Just tell me where you want it.
Right there is perfect. It doesn't look level. It's level. I'm telling you, it's level. That's how
it happens.
Understood.
Nasty.
Well, now I know. See, now I've learned that. Now I know that going in to my first curtain hanging experience, which I'm sure is
Postmate that. Does Postmate
just
hang
get
curtains?
someone else to come.
I don't know how Postmate works. We don't have it in Laurel, but I hear people talk about
There's
it.
a TaskRabbit, I think, would be the one
TaskRabbit
that would do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so then what was your reaction? You've got the 4 seasons under your belt now, but HGTV comes to you and says, hey, you guys are doing great. We want you to do something else. And they're like, oh, cool. Yeah, we want you to do an entire other town. What did you think the first time they brought that idea to you?
So it was interesting because we had had conversations like, we want to do something else. We don't want to burn out on hometown. We want to change it up a little bit. And then they came to us and we're like, we're going to do a whole town. We're like, how?
That's a lot.
How does that?
And immediately we thought of our daughter. She's 2, and wherever we go, I mean, the complicated thing with us is Helen's mommy or daddy doesn't leave and go to work. We both have to be together wherever we go, so somebody has to be with her. And so it's like, I can't be there if Ben does something. We got to do it together. And so we thought immediately, how do we do that with a 2-year-old? How do you just go to another town? I mean, she comes with us, right?
Yeah.
So it's just more complicated. Once you have kids, you have to think about them.
we're totally game for it. It was like, absolutely, we
There's just
want
a lot
to
of
do
logistics,
this.
but we're
if
so
it works
excited.
out for Helen. So.
Has Helen, I know she's still young, but has she shown interest in what you guys do? Is she making her own stuff? Is she creating her own art and just being...
She does her own art.
She's a little painter.
She's really into music. And
music is her thing. Music was my thing when I was young. And then I went to college, and it just became like a thing I used to do. And Helen is a musician. She's only 2, but she plays a fiddle and a guitar and a piano. It's all she wants to watch is Jason Isbell videos. We let her listen to the happy one.
Yeah.
One. Yeah.
Yeah.
When did you start Erin journaling and keeping logs of everything?
When I started my own company and I left my day job in a cubicle, I was terrified.
Okay.
So I started a blog and I wrote about the best thing that happened every day as a way to focus on the good things and not focus on what I was afraid of. And it was life-changing. Yeah.
Tell.
For Erin being I'm the eternal optimist. No matter if you trip going onto the stage, you're going to be fine. Everything will be okay. And Erin is a little more pessimistic.
I just plan for the worst and be surprised when nothing bad happens. That's how I.
But also, she's extremely creative. Erin has this incredible imagination, and so when she thinks about the worst, it is so much worse than what could possibly happen that it's tough. And so when you're leaving the comfort of a steady paycheck, a steady job, to go and do your own thing, that can be very daunting for anyone, especially someone who is terrified of what is going to happen tomorrow.
He's losing his voice.
I'll talk a little bit while you take a sip there and ask my follow-up question. Did you find yourself inspired by that, and then therefore you started journaling as well? Because I know you do that awesome anniversary gift. I don't know where that came from.
So that actually came from Erin's cousin.
Yeah, my mom's first cousin, Mark, would write these funny little books. He would make comic illustrations of the months. One little drawing that just summed up their month together, he and his wife. And it was called The Year in Review. And he's been doing these for 30-something years.
Wow.
And he showed it to us, and I had never heard of that. I was like, Mark, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Yeah. And Ben was apparently paying attention. It was before we got married.
Yeah. But then when we got married, when I proposed to Erin, it was in Square Books in Oxford, Mississippi, and I made her a little book for it. And so books have always played an important role in our lives. And so when we got married and the first anniversary rolled around, and again, history major, art major, scrappy. I made a book because it was paper is the theme for number 1, and it just sort of stuck. And so every year,
it's kind of amazing. And you guys been over 10 years now?
11.
11. Good for you.
Years, yeah.
Hang on a second. Hold for applause. 11 years, guys. That's not easy to do. Come on.
Thank you.
Have you been stumped yet by the material for each year? Has there been a tough?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cast iron's tough.
Cast iron was tough.
He made a little plate.
But it wasn't actually cast iron. I was like, use your imagination here. This is.
But he got a Dremel and like drilled every year the title. It says our first year of marriage, our second year of marriage, and so on. And it's easy when you print it. It's tougher when you use a Dremel and you try to replicate that font by hand on a piece of steel.
Yeah.
But he does it every year. He does it, and it surprises me every time. And I cry every time.
As a history major, man, when did you realize that you were crafty and kind of fearless and into making all these different
So,
things? Stuff out?
my dad, my parents are United Methodist ministers, and so growing up, like my dad's also a diesel mechanic, and we just worked on things. It was never, like we were talking earlier, it was if something needed to be done, we just went ahead and did it. But my dad's not a carpenter, and nobody in my family really is that I know of, except for my little brother works for me now. But I don't know when. It was actually in art school. Erin needed frames for her artwork.
Yeah, to show my art, and they were like, build your own frames. And I was like, can you just...
Yeah.
He was hanging out with the guys in the sculpture room and learning how to do the woodworking and with the saws. And so he built my frames. And then when we got married, turns out I have expensive taste with no money. So I wanted this like $3,000 antique armoire that was in a flea market.
Yeah.
And I just took photos of it from every angle, and I measured it. And I said, is there any way you could just build it? And he was like, yeah, I can, even though he'd never done anything like that. Yeah.
Happy wife, happy life. And so we built that, and it was like from there on, like I always approached woodworking from like the fine carpentry side. And so it developed more and more and
Working
more.
small.
Yeah. So.
Very cool. What we're gonna go over a little bit to the audience, but we've got Hometown that's coming on January 20th. Erin, you've got your web series that's premiering in the same night.
Erins-Spired.
Wonderful name, by the way.
And listen, they let me watch it like an episode of Erins-Spired, and it was so good I cried.
Really?
Yeah.
Aw.
Which one?
And when you're Renee's.
Okay.
Yeah, the Little House. Did you guys ever read that children's book, The Little House? Please, Virginia Lee Burton. It's
You need
one of
to
the
go read
greatest.
it.
Go read it. It's the best. But a little house is in the country, and then this huge big city over many, many years starts creeping in on the little house, and then big buildings come up on each side, and then the trains go back and forth, and pretty soon the little house is completely forgotten, and the windows are broken, and then one day the great-great-granddaughter of the man who built the house sees the little house, puts it on a trailer, and moves it back to the country, and she rebuilds it, and it's like the sweetest story. And the first time I read it, I cried. Anyway, and we got to do an episode kind of like that.
Really?
I don't want to tell you any more than that, but
Well, it wasn't exactly in the big city.
no, it wasn't in the big
But,
city. But it's
yes.
still a sweet story, and just anyway. Yeah.
Well, I always love the Erins-Spireds are great because we get to see you can only fit so much in the episode on
Right.
television, right? So to like pull the curtain back and see a little bit of the design process and the thought that goes into
Well,
it.
and
Really cool.
Erin's design team is incredible. It's like the way that their minds work together it's a really beautiful thing to watch with the homes. Because they take these surveys.
We don't have any power struggles, and
Right.
it's amazing. We all are always on the same page. We've never had a disagreement. Like, it's me, and I have two design producers and two assistants for them, and we just always, like, I give them my inspiration board for a room, and then they're like, that's exactly what we were thinking. And then they find the things that I want, and it's amazing. So that's what Erins-Spired, you get to go behind the scenes and see that team that helps me actually, because when you're doing 16 and you're doing like 4 or 5 at the same time, one person
you
cannot do
Yeah.
all that shopping.
It's
Oh,
a
my
lot.
goodness.
Yeah.
And we open and close a house in 7 weeks. So 4 houses in 7
Simultaneously,
weeks.
7
Yeah.
weeks at a time.
Yeah.
My
It's
God.
magic.
It's a lot.
And so are you bopping from house to house in a single day? 'Cause
Yeah,
they're
but they're all within like a mile of each other.
Okay.
It's a small town.
Yeah.
Those boxes you got to check.
Yeah.
Is that they're all close by.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got Hometown, we've got Erins-Spired, and then you're filming Hometown Takeover this
No.
year?
We're actually, this year.
This year. Yeah.
We'll start in a few months, but we have to find the town.
Yes.
We don't know where.
And
think
I
they
am
have till
such a
February
planner.
2nd or 3rd, I believe,
Yeah.
is the deadline that I've read. February
Guys.
2nd or 3rd, you can still submit your town. Population less than 40K, I
Yes.
saw. and pictures, videos, the whole nine, and you guys are going to choose a town.
I have so much anxiety about not knowing where I'm going to be in March.
That's such a big part of it.
Can you imagine,
Yeah.
like, you're going to have a full-time job. It'll be in March. You just don't know where it will be.
I got to imagine, too, like, HGTV probably takes care of a lot of this, but I was curious about, even in Laurel, just, like, what the local government kind of feels about you guys, like, revitalizing the whole town. And coming, are they cooperative? Or is there, like, a
so
don't raise
amazing.
my property taxes kind of guy that comes out of the woodwork? Or no? Is it, like...
It's,
99% amazing and a couple of old sore heads. That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But our city government's incredible. They
really excited
They are
about it.
so awesome. They're our partners in doing this in a way because they
pretty
make
cool.
everything as easy as possible for us. So
Yeah.
I hope we find that in whatever town we're going to.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will
Yeah.
because like I think that everyone, because we've seen some of the applicants already,
Yeah.
and it's people like partnering, getting the government involved.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
You ran, I saw this, I didn't realize this was in the first episode. I don't know if I'm spoiling anything, but you wear this T-shirt. You ran for local office at
I
one
did.
point.
I did. I was going to make a difference in Laurel.
Well, I was going to say, do you feel like, oddly enough, even though that didn't work out at the time, I'm sure that loss was devastating, but
It
now...
was.
Every time I see like a street light out in our neighborhood, I'm like, thank God you didn't win the election. You'd have to deal with that.
But like, think of how much change you might have arguably been able to enact more change in a shorter period of time
Absolutely.
through this show. With what you've
Absolutely. And that's what one of our producers, Lindsay Whitehorn, who lives here in New York, she always, in the beginning, she would be like, I'm so glad you didn't win city council because we wouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we've been able to implement way more change in the last 4 years than, it really is.
The 2 shows on the 20th, the new show you're filming, you got a 2-year-old. What is your favorite memory of when you used to sleep? I assume you don't have any time for that anymore.
We do sleep.
you really?
She is the best.
She
baby.
sleeps through the night.
She sleeps 12 hours a night.
What a
Put her down at 7. She wakes up at
Yeah.
8.
Oh.
And I hate to say that. I don't know if any of you have kids, but 12 hours is, it is incredible.
It is amazing, but we don't get to sleep late. I mean, 8 is her sleeping late.
Yeah.
She might wake up at
Like we used to
6:45
stay
on the
up till,
weekend.
midnight watching TV
None of that.
or walking around town and
Nope.
yeah,
You got 5 houses to go check on.
that's right. 9:30, I'm in bed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you not only for being here, but for the work you guys are doing. It's amazing to see the way you're turning the town, revitalize it, bring all this energy and love into it. And it's exciting to see that you're going to get to do that for someplace else. I can't wait to find out. It could be your town if you're watching right now. You got till the 3rd or the 2nd. Don't quote me on that, but it's in that ballpark, all right? And go apply right now. Send your town out there. See if it can happen. We got some audience questions, and then we'll wrap
Okay.
things up before we get out of here. We got at least 2 of them. You got a microphone. Hello in the front.
Hi, Ben. Hi, Erin.
How are you?
Really good. Thank you for asking. I just wanted to ask, since you guys have now been in this 11-year relationship and you have all of this stuff going on, what daily practices or habits do you engage in that keep you guys centered and grounded and in alignment and on the same page with each other and all of that good stuff?
So we
Overshare.
with each other.
Yeah.
Like we tell each other everything as it happens. And I know that like people say like, oh, you tell your spouse everything. But like we really tell each other probably too much.
Because there's not anything to fight over if you know everything.
There are no surprises.
There are no surprises. Yeah, there's less to have a disagreement over. And this was something I started when Helen was born, and Ben was just like really working overtime to take care of me because I was recovering, and he was helping like with anything Helen needed to hold their hand at night and say thank you for everything you do for us. Like I think it's important to say thank you and be sincere about it, not just a flippant thank you. But yeah, that's it, I think.
For each other.
Yeah.
That's a great question. Thank you for that. I want to do one more. Let's do one more. You got a microphone. You're right there.
Hi.
Hey.
I was wondering, is there a part of the home that people generally neglect when renovating or just even in general upkeep?
A lot of people don't ask us to. So this is not the question you ask, but it will get back to the question you ask. People ask, why do you not show all the rooms in the house? So it's just like real life where they come to us and they say, this is how much money I have, and I would like to just focus that on the areas that need it the most. So it might be that we don't touch a bedroom because it's 4 walls that just need paint or something, right? So typically bedrooms don't get a lot of love on Hometown because we like to help where we can have the most impact. and do things that our homeowner wouldn't know how to do on their own. And
And I don't know if that was what your question was,
Probably
but
not.
I think you're referring more to like in general when people are working on a home. Upkeep is just like with your car. Like I always struggle when people are like, I don't want an old house. I want a new house that doesn't have any problems, and that does not exist. It's like it's just like owning a car. Like you have to maintain it over the years if you want it to last as long as, some houses do. So, routine maintenance on things, checking windows, pressure washing.
get your termite inspections done.
Yeah,
That's
make sure
important.
that's important.
We learned that this season.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh no! Well, it's this season.
So-
I guess you can't spoil too much.
There is a house that
Was completely eaten. The foundation.
the foundation was gone.
How far into the process did you learn that, though?
A
We
few
were
weeks into it. We had already torn out most of everything in the
well, and
house
like we
and found the termites.
signs, but we find signs of termites in a lot of houses. And I said something to one of my guys about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I hope that this is where it stops."
They're not active.
Yeah, and then we tore out a wall between two bathrooms, and we fell through the floor. It was like
Home inspection just missed it somehow.
so.
So yeah, get your termite inspections done.
Do people ever come to you with like a specific area that they want to focus on, but we should put more of that money over here because we could make this space much better and
Sometimes
stuff like that?
people will be like, I want the most amazing laundry room that has like a special, beautiful farmhouse sink and even a little refrigerator. And we're just like, but
No one's gonna see that.
have you seen your budget? And your bathroom?
And then there are things that like people just tend to not think about, like electrical, HVAC, plumbing, and
I think a lot of people assume my lights work, so our power's good. But if you have knob and tube wiring, you could burn your house down if anything is ever disturbed. And so that's something people just don't often think
Yeah.
about. What's
How much of
behind
that did you guys have to learn while you were doing it, since you're a history major and an art student?
I mean, I knew a little bit.
Yeah.
Electrical scares the
Yeah.
woo.
That means
I don't
you're
like
smart.
electrical. That's right. Yeah. And then
Grandfather used to say.
I've learned. I think it's I can't remember how many rules of plumbing. The number one rule of plumbing is don't put your hands in your mouth. And stuff flows downhill. So that was, but yeah, that's those. I won't say that we had to learn about those, but I will say that we had to learn how expensive that stuff is.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense. I genuinely enjoyed having you
This
guys
was
here.
fun.
So much fun. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for having us.
Yeah.
And congratulations again on everything. It's the 20th, Monday the 20th, 9 p.m. Right, 9? I wrote that down. Yes, 9 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. The 20th on HGTV. Hometown is back as same day. Aaron Inspired is going to be back on the web, and then go submit your town right now so Ben and Erin can come by and make it beautiful. Go do it. Go. I'm telling you. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us. Thank you guys for being such an awesome audience. You were great questions, and thank you again to you guys for hanging out. It was so nice to
Thank
have you
you
here.
so much
Make some
for
noise
having
for
us.
Ben Napier and Erin Napier right here. Come on, guys, do it up.
Thank you.